The FN 502 in 22 long rifle. Let's check it out. FN, or Fabrique Nationale, has been in business since 1889 and have produced some really legendary firearms, including the Browning High Power, the FN FAL, and also the FN SCAR, and continue to make really great designs. Today we're going to take a look at the Model 502. This is in 22 caliber, but it is along the same design as your Model 509. Now the 509 is a 9mm striker fire pistol, but all the controls are the same, the grip is the same. I mean, it's pretty much identical except for caliber. So it makes a great companion, but it's also a great gun to take out to the range to plink for first-time shooters, low recoil. 22 is just one of those calibers that has so many different purposes. So guys, having a 22 is just extremely versatile. All right guys, we have the FN 502, and this is in 22 long rifle. It is actually the little brother of the 509, which is a Centerfire caliber. This is in 9mm. This has a threaded barrel, but other than that, honestly, they are the same size. And the grip's a little bit longer, but your slide length is about the same, and all the controls are the same. And that's one of the reasons why FN came out with a 502. It pairs very well with the 9mm brother. So you can shoot your 22, you can enjoy inexpensive ammo, low report, low recoil, and yet all the controls are the same. So it gives you that same feel. It just allows you to do more training. Now, this is the little bit larger version with the extended grip, but this actually mimics the 502 Tactical, and it has the threaded barrel, and it has a 15+1 mag capacity for the 22 with a little shorter grip, just like we have with the standard 502. Now, let's go ahead and check to make sure the gun's unloaded. We're going to drop our 10-round magazine. It does have a polymer sleeve. There are 15-round magazines available. They have a base plate that comes down, and that's standard on the tactical model. But on the regular 502, you get two 10-round magazines. And I really like that they have that metal insert. So they're metal magazines with a polymer shell, and most of your 22 little pistols are coming with polymer magazines if they're the higher capacity. And we have a loading assist right here. It's just a button you just grab and pull down. You know, there's a lot of 22 mag little buttons and assist, but this one has a little more beef to it. It's a little bit easier to grab, and it's going to be easier to load those magazines. And we have an area for witness holes. You can see how many rounds you have. And then here on the other side, it's just blank. We do have it numbered as well. With the magazine well, it just keeps it more stable. And two, you have less polymer in your grip, and with fins, things that stabilize the magazine, this just gives you a little bit of extra. And it really mimics more of your 509 magazines. And then we'll check the chamber, and the gun is empty. Now the hammer's in the rear position. This is a single action only handgun. This does not work with double action. So we pull the trigger. It is a really nice break. We're going to take a more close look at it in a minute. But with the hammer down, there's no action. So this is truly a single action only handgun. Most of your 22s that are out there are single action. They just have either internal hammers or strikers. And this has a commander style hammer. This is in the signature FN kind of coyote brown with the slide and the two-tone effect, and this is beautiful, but you can also get this in the black as well. Now it has front and rear cocking serrations. This is an aluminum alloy slide, so it comes back really easy. And that way, you know, especially when you add a red dot, it just gives you a very smooth recoil impulse. It comes back. We'll show more of that when we go to the range. But again, your hammer's in the down position. You have a frame safety, so that just locks it in. Then you drop it, and of course you can fire the handgun. And to be honest, anytime that you rack your slide, your hammer is going to go in the rear position. And the frame safety is ambidextrous, the slide stops ambidextrous, and your magazine release ambidextrous. And I like that because I can take my shooting finger, reach down, and just drop that magazine. And they come out really easy. Now you will see there are some stabilizing fins that are inside the mag well, and that just helps to keep the magazine stable as well. Rounded off trigger guard. We have an undercut right here. We have 3-slot Picatinny rail. And one thing about the FN is the texturing. It's built into the grip itself. It's molded. One thing you'll see a lot of times is laser etch texturing, and that's great. But this is one of the things that FN is known for. Has really nice serrations, front and back strap. And we have nice serrations here and coming all the way up. And they are aggressive, but they're not too aggressive. The pyramids have been flattened down, but when you grip the handgun, it kind of just molds into the texturing. The serrations are nice, they're deep, easy to grab, front and rear, but with 22 again, and this slide, it just makes it really simple. And as you can see, it is last round, bolt hold open. And we have a 4-inch steel barrel. It is crowned, so it's going to preserve your accuracy. We have these suppressor height sights. And so they're lifted up, but what happens when you add a red dot is that it will co-witness with the red dot. It is optics ready. And we have a ridge that runs along the top of the slide. The front sight is dovetailed in, so if you want to put lower profile sights, you can. And then of course at the rear as well. And just a blacked out rear and front sight, but not a bad sight picture. You do get a little bit of a ledge that comes up for a beaver tail, just helps you to get up on the handgun. And one thing about 22 is you don't want to drop the hammer a lot. With the way the firing pin's set up for rimfire, it hits the rim and it can damage the firing pin. And FN recommends that you do add snap caps. I believe the SIG P322, they say that you can dry fire. So while you can dry fire some, you don't want to dry fire repeatedly. And guys, this is a very close replica of your 509. Again, just threaded barrel, a little bit longer frame, but all the other controls are very close to the same. Now this one does not have your frame safety, but it is striker fired. And a lot of your 22s do come with the frame safeties. But the slide configuration, the texturing on the grip, even when it comes down to the way the grip is shaped, I mean, it is a 509 just smaller, and really just smaller in the grip. Every other dimension is pretty much the same. Even the slide length, the barrel length, except for the threaded part, is the same length. Now again, this is a 4-inch barrel. It is steel, but one thing you're going to notice is that there is no threaded barrel. And a lot of times with 22s, they're including the threaded barrel, and you have a thread protector that fits over the top, and then you can put an adapter on. With this, it's just what it is. And if you really want the threaded barrel, you can go with the 502 Tactical. But the barrel does stick out of the slide just a touch. So I really like this with a threaded barrel. Now, while the aluminum alloy slide has nice anodizing on it, you do have steel components all the way throughout, and of course the steel barrel and your chamber, and so it just gives it some strength. But you know guys, 22 long rifle is pretty low in pressure, and so it makes it just, again, a lot of fun to shoot. Now they're clearly marked on the slide 502 and 509, and we have the calibers 9mm and 22 long rifle. But really, overall, these are very similar in design and even in their texturing pattern. Now here is the slide plate for your optics cover, and this just fits. The sight is attached. You remove the 2 screws. Then we have 3 adapter plates. We have one for the RMR, one for the RMSC, and one for the Venom or the Doctor sight. And they do include the rear sight at the back. These are polymer. But just like with the new Glock Gen 6, the polymer acts as a crush washer. So let's take a look at the slide mounting. Now once you loosen your screws, you can pull your cover plate right off. You'll want to remove any kind of excess lubricant. Also, they recommend for whatever screws you're putting in here to make sure there's no lubricant on those. There are 2 little rubber O-rings, but with that, you don't have to put Loctite on the screws, on your mounting screws. But you will notice this cutout right here at the front. And that corresponds with the cutout right here at the bottom of your adapter plate. So as you put it on, it just sets right down in it, and it sets really low. I like that. It doesn't rise up above the slide. In fact, it cuts down just a touch. And here is where you mount your red dot, and it mounts the plate to the slide as well. And so again, this acts as a crush washer. We are leaving the cover plate on right now while we're doing our tabletop, but we're going to add an optic on here and just test it out when we go to the range. But I do love that they include a rear sight at the back of the adapter plates. Now on the bag, you'll notice that there is a small chart. In the RMR, you use the red screws, and here we have red. And then for the Vortex Venom, it's green. Here are the green screws, and then we need blue screws for the Shield RMS. And you do get an additional front sight. Now we're going to check out our trigger, and we have a couple of snap caps in here just to be able to test. Again, we want to preserve our rimfire firing pin. Trigger action, we hit a wall pretty quick. There's very little take up. And then a nice break. It's predictable, you can feel it, but it's not super crisp. Now let's check reset. Right there. Kind of a little bit sluggish coming out, but we'll see how that acts at the range. All right, let's check our trigger pull weight with our Lyman trigger gauge from Brownells. FN says that it breaks at about 5 pounds. 4 pounds, 3.9 ounces. 3 pounds, 15.3 ounces. So really it breaks more in the 4-pound range. Let's check the weight on the FN 502. 22.73 ounces. Well, a big thank you to Fiocchi for sponsoring our ammo, all made in the USA. Biggest supplier of ammunition in the country. And I'll tell you, these mags are really easy to load. I like that they are metal for the interior, which most of these are plastic. And this little catch works really good. Easy to load those mags. All right, guys, the FN 502, 22 caliber, the little brother to the FN 509, which is a great handgun in itself, service duty pistol in 9mm. This gives you that really softer recoil, less expensive to shoot, makes a great training aid. But even so, it has the FN quality, it has that texturing that's really excellent, the slide serrations. So it's a great plinking handgun or for first-time shooters. And it's in 22, so it's really low recoil. 10-round magazine. We have suppressor height sights that make it really easy to see. But overall, it's just got that FN quality. Now, one thing about it, though, is that it is licensed under Umarex. So Umarex is making these. They do that for a number of different companies, just putting out a rimfire companion. Umarex, I've had many of them, and they're just excellent handguns. So easy to shoot. I mean, the recoil, of course, is nil. Nice trigger. It is optics ready. We were running one of the Osight SEs on here, and that is a great sight. We've done a lot of torture tests with those. We've run it on a lot of different guns. And so Osight's really surprised me, but they are really doing a great job. But it does have adapter plates, and we've talked about that. But overall, it just has the same controls, and it does have a frame safety, which is a little different. Now, you'll notice the hammer, and that's different. It is single action only, though. Trigger does not actuate the hammer, it just releases the sear. So that's probably something from Umarex itself, just to add some safety to it. But it feels really good in the hand, and it shoots really well. Now, with that being said, when we first got this down to the range, we did have the Osight SE on here. We were shooting a few rounds, but it wouldn't reset. I'd pull the trigger and it would kind of just wouldn't reset. And I would bring it out and bring it back, and then it would reset. I could feel it. So I was using standard Fiocchi 22 ammunition, which is usually very reliable. So I took the sight off, brought it back down to the range, and just tested it out. Just shot a few rounds just to see what it was doing. I brought CCI mini mags because I wanted to make sure I was getting enough force on that slide to be able to reset that trigger. With the CCI, we had no problems whatsoever. It just fired. And of course, we didn't have the sight on at that time. We put the sight back on and it was working again. Then I started shooting more of the Fiocchi standard ammunition, and then it started functioning a lot better. We did have a couple of hang-ups, but overall, it was doing better. One of the things about these small little 22s, and guys, I've had this experience for a number of years, is you've got to find the right ammunition. But once you start shooting these for a while, they start getting less finicky, and that's my experience. I had the Walther P22, and when I first got it, I could only shoot CCI mini mags. After a while, I started being able to go to the standard velocity ammunition. So if you're having problems right up front, especially with little 22s, check your ammunition, make sure that it's functioning, and then after a while, it should kind of wear in to be able to fire other type ammunitions. That's not always the case, but it's something to really watch for. Now, saying that, we're going to bring out just that Fiocchi standard, and I'm going to shoot it. And we'll see, it should function because we were having some good success earlier today. So guys, you know, it can come around and smooth itself out. Sometimes new production in 22, it's just great to be able to check that. We also retested it with the sight and it functioned as well. So again, you get a little 22, you're having a little bit of issue, try some different ammunition. Sometimes the higher velocity ammunition can be a problem with these little 22s, and you need to have standard. And then sometimes that high velocity gives you a little more to be able to get through it. Went to the CCI and shot it was probably only about 50 rounds. We haven't really had any issues since that time. But overall, the handgun itself, it's great. I love the ergonomics. The suppressor height sights, one of the things about it is it mimics the 502, but of course we don't have a threaded barrel, which I think that's a big miss for FN. I think a threaded barrel here would have been a big plus with an adapter. But we do have the tactical model in the 502 line, and that gives you 15 plus 1, plus you have a threaded barrel. So just some good options. But FN's a legendary company, and of course Umarex is making this, but still with 22, sometimes it's just finicky. And messing around a little bit can save you from having to send the gun back for something that you could have fixed very easily yourself. All right, for disassembly, we're going to drop our magazine, check the chamber, make sure the gun's empty, and we're going to bring back our slide into slide lock. And then just bring down your takedown lever. And then we're going to just release the slide. And it should come right off. A lot of times with 22s, especially a fixed barrel design, you have to bring the slide back, lift up, and lift it over your recoil spring and barrel. This is more traditional. We have a recoil spring. It is polymer, and it's fairly a lightweight spring because of 22. And then we have our barrel, and we have to lift it and bring it out. Now this is the area that locks into the frame. So as this comes back, it's going to act as a fixed barrel design. And so that way, and then of course when we do this, it allows that to fall all the way back into place, just like that. So this is very similar to a fixed barrel, but you can remove the barrel. So that's a pretty cool idea. And then we're just going to bring it back out. Here the slide, super lightweight and very well machined. This is, again, aircraft grade aluminum. You're going to see some wear on it at times. You want to make sure that when you lubricate those areas of that high wear, that's a very important place. And then, of course, we have our frame. Has a little more weight to it, and it gives it a little more weight to really match your 509. So here we have our hammer assembly in the area, and then we have our locking block, and you have generous rails on the front and back. And I highly recommend going ahead and getting some of this grease off. One of the things about 22 is that it can be very dirty. The powder and the residue And so you really want to keep a lot of this excess lube and grease off because it'll cake up on those areas. And guys, that's all you need to do to field strip. For reassembly, just in reverse order, we're going to take our barrel, place it into the slide, and we're going to take our recoil spring and put it right there on the barrel lug. Bring back your slide, and you want to get this into slide lock, and then we're going to bring our takedown lever around, and then we're going to drop it. That is very simple to do. Otis makes some of the best cleaning equipment out there. They make a number of different kits that are dedicated for different rifles, pistols. They also have Shooter's Choice, which makes excellent CLP and bore solvent and different cleaning materials. The ripcord is one of their signatures, and there's a whole system based around it. They are suppliers to the U.S. military. So check out Otis Technologies, highly recommended, and we want to thank Otis for being a sponsor of the channel. Well, the 502 comes in a really nice box. Of course, we have our pistol, we have the egg crate foam, and then we have this top that opens up, owner's manual. Of course, you get your adapter plates for your sights, you get your screws, you get a lock. I would hold on to this to let you know the colors of the screws when you're putting in your red dot. And you get your extra magazine. MSRP $469. Now, I purchased this at Palmetto State Armory for $369, so market price is going to be less. When it comes to the tactical model, it retails for $559. And of course, it has the threaded barrel. It has your 15-round magazines. With the standard model, you're getting that 10-round magazine, so it is somewhat limited. But we have the FN design, and this is again licensed by FN to Umarex, and Umarex has been making firearms for a long time and good quality. Now, this gives you all the same features of your 509, which is that excellent texturing. You have your accessory rail, we have your serrations front and back, and we're optics ready, and we have suppressor height sights. Finish is really well done, and it just has that FN look to it. And again, it does come in black. And it does mate with your 509, so if you have one, this is going to be a perfect training aid. But again, just for plinking, going out for first-time shooters, low recoil, inexpensive. I mean, the 22 makes a great option whether you have a 509 or not. So let's look at a few cons. Of course, obviously, we did have some problems at the range, and really that was, I believe, ammo related and just breaking in the handgun. So once we went and switched to the CCI mini mags, we didn't have any problems, and again went back to the Fiocchi standard and didn't have any problems. A couple of little hiccups early on. I really feel like that was fixed, plus with the red dot sight, when we put it back on, it worked. So I just wanted to get that out of the way because we'd fix that on our own. Another con is, while this is a really nice barrel, it is not threaded, and I really feel like they missed the boat there. They should have threaded this, had the thread protector and adapter available, because 22 has become so easy to suppress. Another thing too is the hammer, and of course with Umarex it's probably through the design, but we do have a hammer which is a little different than your 509. So again, just a few cons, but definitely they're there. And if you want the threaded barrel, then go with the tactical model, and you'll get that 15-round magazine capacity, which the 509 tactical magazine should fit in your standard model. So that could be a plus as well. So guys, the FN 502, again, just the little brother to the model 509, just in 22 caliber. Really great gun to take out to the range, low report, low recoil, great for first-time shooters, and again, 22 is just so versatile. So it stands alone on its own. And if you really want the threaded barrel with the extra capacity for the magazine, check out the 502 Tactical. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. not resetting every time. It was doing better, but it was doing better. Your serrations front and back, and we're up. It's just one of those. Actually, a little smaller, not really. It's about the same. In fact, it's exactly the same except for the barrel. Plus their scar and their other guns, all their other guns. And that sun is like, gives you the same, gives you the same grip and all that stuff. So then I decided to take that sight off. And then I don't want to go into that yet. Training, great for first-time shooters, and that sun just keeps getting in my face.